Now that the Olympics are over, we'll continue to bring you all the day's news at 5, 6, and 10. Cake News. We bring it home. The station people turn to for news. Cake TV 10 Wichita.
From Cake Television and the state's most honored broadcast news operation, this is the 10 o'clock edition.
Good evening, I'm Rose Stanley. A plan to save the school district some money in busing may be stopped at a red light. Several weeks ago, school board member Sheldon Kamen asked the administration to look into the possibility of hiring adult crossing guards. He hoped they could replace some buses that are currently used to transport children across hazardous routes near their schools. But at the school board meeting tonight, the members were told that even if guards were placed at crosswalks, the buses would continue to run because they're also used by junior high and high school students. The administration says a hazardous bus route currently costs approximately $20,000 and that an adult crossing guard could cost the district $4,000. The meeting tonight was only a study session, but the board gave no indication it would consider the matter any further. The status quo is just fine. That is the opinion tonight of a 15-member committee that's been studying local government for the past 3 months. It is recommending that the present system of local governments in Sedgwick County be retained, that any move toward metropolitan government be approved by a vote of the people, and that the city and county consolidate their accounting procedures and explore joint purchasing to save money. The committee is also recommending that the term metropolitan government be discarded because it means too many things to too many people. The recommendations will be discussed at 3 public meetings this week, beginning tomorrow night at 7:30 in the jury room of the county courthouse. And it is a good bet that meeting will be calmer than the one scheduled between Beach Aircraft Company and its striking employees union. The strike is now in its 8th day, and negotiators have not met since it began. But at the request of a federal mediator, the Beach negotiating team and the machinists union today agreed to go back to the bargaining table tomorrow. Both sides confirmed to Cake News that they will meet tomorrow, but declined to say where or when. 2,900 beach workers are on strike because of a contract dispute. You may get the idea that it's just the same as aspirin, but a new non-prescription drug being billed as an aspirin substitute isn't going to be sold as freely as aspirin, at least not here in Wichita. Craig Heaps reports that's because it is dangerous if not used properly.
The drug is sold under the brand names Advil and Nuprin. It has pharmacist groups in at least 7 states concerned enough to put it behind the counter where customers must ask for it by name. Those pharmacists feel it's too strong to be sold without some supervision. That's because it's much stronger than aspirin, and it can cause kidney disease in some people, and it's dangerous to those with high blood pressure. Here in Wichita, the pharmacists have not as yet made a group decision to put the new pain reliever behind the counter. But pharmacist Lee Gerber suggests there is another way to handle the drug.
2 biggest pharmacy organizations in the country are both heavily in favor of having a 3rd class of drugs, which would be between the regular over-the-counter type drugs that have been available for years and the prescription drugs, which are here and on doctor's orders only. This 3rd class that they are promoting would be at the recommendation of pharmacists. They would still be behind the prescription counter, but they would not require a prescription.
Gerber says Advil and Nuprin are both safe, but people need to know they are not the same as aspirin. Craig Heaps, Cake News.
The United States has 1 less Titan II missile site, and Winfield has 1 more potential wheat field. Although the missile was removed last month, the Air Force today gave reporters a rare glimpse of what a Titan II missile silo looks like. The Air Force is salvaging as much as possible from the silo and the control booth. Most of the electronic gear will be used somewhere else, and soon the site will be filled with dirt and turned over to the Secretary of Defense. The next Titan II missile site to be deactivated is located 3 miles west of Norwich in southeast Kingman County. Work began there today. A weekend remark that wasn't supposed to be heard by the general public continues to haunt President Reagan. While testing his microphone prior to his Saturday radio talk, Reagan joked that he had signed a bill banning the Soviet Union and that bombing would begin in 5 minutes. Not surprisingly, Democratic presidential candidate Walter Mondale today capitalized on the remark.
He's the President of the United States. When the world hears those sorts of things, maybe some will dismiss it as some kind of joke. Others may think it means something. And you just, at least I didn't find it funny.
The president, meanwhile, has made no further reference to the remark. If you were on trial, would you want a camera in the courtroom? Cover story is still ahead.
This free keychain unlocks a great soft drink all summer long at Big Cheese Pizza. It's worth a free pitcher of soft drink or equivalent soft drinks to go when you order a medium or a large Big Cheese Pizza. The keychain is free too with a medium or large pizza order. Get your keychain now while supplies last at Big Cheese Pizza. All right, Dad, let's dig in.
Big Cheese Pizza, great pizza.
This is bindweed, and this is Banvel herbicide. No other herbicide kills bindweed and other broadleaf perennials as well as Banvel. Treat bindweed with Banvel to kill both plant and root system so bindweed can't creep back. This fall, kill bindweed with Banvel herbicide, and you still have a choice of rotation options. Root out bindweed and other tough perennials with Banvel herbicide. Clearance for rotation to soybeans is expected this season.
Look what I've got, a dream come true. A Brahms triple dip banana split burn. It's got 3 dips of Brahms real ice cream. It's got your goops and goops and goops. It's got you roasted, toasty almonds. And look at that little cherry burn, that little splash of color. A Brahms triple dip banana split burn. Any closer to heaven, Vernon, and you'd have to wear wings.
Justice is swift in Italy, at least for some. An Italian court today found one Iranian teenager guilty and another innocent of hijacking a plane load of Muslim pilgrims last week. The guilty youth was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. He told authorities he is opposed to the rule of Ayatollah Khomeini. The Italians turned down a request by Iran that the two be extradited. In Wichita, 2 men charged with promoting obscenity failed to appear in district court today. Cho Van Nguyen and Edwin Davis were both charged with selling obscene books and magazines. Warrants have been issued for their arrests. The cases are part of a crackdown on obscenity by the district attorney's office. Another man charged with promoting obscenity, Stuart Henderson, pleaded guilty to 1 count, and a woman, Sally Corbett, charged with 2 counts of promoting obscenity, was placed on the diversion program. All of those charged work for bookstores in the Wichita area. While today's court proceedings weren't televised, many Sedgwick County trials over the past 7 months have been. That's because of an experiment authorized by the Kansas Supreme Court. On tonight's cover story, Mike Ewan begins a 3-part series on what impact the experiment has had on our courtrooms.
I see none, ma'am.
Cameras are becoming a common sight in our courtrooms, but for decades that wasn't the case. The American Bar Association's Canon 35, adopted in 1937, effectively banned cameras in the courts. The decision grew out of the sensational 1930s trial of Bruno Hauptmann, the convicted kidnapper and killer of the Charles Lindbergh baby. The decision was reinforced by the trials of Sam Shepard and Billy Saul Estes, with appellate judges referring to the media's behavior as a Roman holiday and a circus. But times have changed, and so has technology. Television cameras are now smaller, make no noise, and require no extra lighting. In 1981, the Kansas Supreme Court joined 41 other states in allowing cameras to record its proceedings on an experimental basis. The experiment was made permanent last year for the state Supreme and appellate courts, and a 1-year experiment was announced for the district courts in Sedgwick, Johnson, Lyon, Chase, and Shawnee counties. There are strict rules. Requests not to be photographed may come from victims and witnesses, police informants, undercover agents, and juveniles. Jury selection and individual jurors may not be shown. And cameras are still not allowed in hearings to suppress evidence, divorce hearings, and trade secret cases. At least a dozen cases have been televised statewide since the first of the year. Information officer for the state Supreme Court, Ron Kiefhofer, says so far the experiment has been working.
It's been real positive. Most of the judges, all the judges I've talked to, have not found it distracting or disruptive, and I think the experiment has allayed a lot of fears that some people have about cameras in the courtroom.
But cameras do have an impact. A survey of juries in locally televised trials by the Wichita Bar Association shows jurors are aware of the camera at first, but generally forget it after a while. However, a majority of the jurors say they wouldn't want a trial they were involved in as a plaintiff or a defendant televised. It is attorneys and their clients who probably have the most to lose from cameras in the courtroom. Some, but not all, are opposed to the idea. We'll have their story tomorrow night. For Cover Story, Mike Ewan, Cake News.
Well, we can all keep the sunscreen out and try to keep the sprinklers on outside.
Oh, water bills are going to go up and up and up because we have about one chance this week of a little bit of rain shower activity. That should be early Thursday morning. We'll be watching that pretty carefully as a
Till then, the meter keeps ticking away.
Sprinkle, sprinkle everywhere except coming down. We'll come back with that right after this.
Joe Kelly's Oyster Dock, an exciting, fun restaurant featuring an extensive menu of sandwiches and salads, prime rib and steaks, shrimp, oysters, and a wide selection of fish specialties, including live Maine lobster, flown in fresh daily. In fact, our fresh fish varieties alone make us well worth remembering. Join us for lunch, happy hour, or dinner at Joe Kelly's Oyster Dock. Everything good from the sea, except a salty breeze, and we're working on that.
Summer's quiet around here. No cheering football fans, no cheerleaders, worst of all, no game. But all that changes September 1 when the Shockers take charge at their season opener and begin a new era under new head coach Ron Chismar. The bleachers will fill, the band will play, fans and families will pour in, and the best football action around will give you and your family great entertainment. Make plans now to catch the Shockers, beginning a new era September 1.
If you've been thinking about buying a new home, stop by Railroad Savings and Loan. Railroad's variable rate home loans offer initial interest rates usually lower than fixed rate loans. So start planning now with Railroad. Over 100 agents statewide put you right on line for the best loan results, serving Kansans since 1896.
Right on line, we're your kind of people. Railroad Savings and Loan.
Bowling for excitement, bowling just for fun. Bowling for the action when the weekend comes. Shake 'em up, shake 'em up. It's a weekend blast when the lanes are fast. Shake 'em up. We're bowling after dinner, putting on a show. Everyone's a winner, man, you gotta go. Shake 'em up, shake 'em up. Do a day or night, bowling's out of sight. Shake 'em up.
Winter bowling leagues are now being formed at Gold Pin Fun Centers. Bowl this weekend and ask for details.
Jim O'Donnell's weather presentation has the seal of approval from the American Meteorological Society.
Well, most of us could use some rain, but one nice thing about having this type of weather situation is we wind up with relatively cool weather at nighttime. These were the overnight lows. The record low this morning was 57. That was at Topeka for the overnight. And in Wichita, it was 64 degrees early this morning. Now, this is the way it looks for the afternoon high temperatures. We have readings in the 80s off in the northwest and southwestern Kansas. Just about all of the stations reported 93. In the south central part of the state, Wichita also reported 93. High in the state this afternoon was 96 degrees. That was reported over around Hutchinson. And over the rest of the state, we did have a couple of high 80s up in the northeast, but otherwise mostly low 90s, which is just a little bit below normal for this time of year. Well, our ragweed situation is like this. We have nothing at all to report, even though this is the beginning of the ragweed season. We have had one or two showing up here and there. We also had a downside on the pigweed and Russian thistle, down about 13 since yesterday. Mole spores down considerably. Now, that might be helping people who have a bit of an allergy because they were down 184 just since yesterday. Now, currently in south central Kansas, this is the way it looks. We have 82 degrees in Wichita, 82 at Hutchinson. Savannah reports 79. Humidity 35%. Winds easterly at 10 miles an hour. The barometric pressure 30.04 and rising. Clear skies, lots of beautiful stars. And the 10 o'clock temperatures across the state, one of the cool readings 69, 78 at Garden City, 83 for one of the warmer readings in the Arc City area, but Topeka is reporting a relatively pleasant 71 degrees. Well, the satellite picture indicated that we had wide areas of rain showers, but they were beginning to break up considerably, and that shows up pretty well on the radar, where we had rather solid areas of radar and rain shower concentrations along the Gulf Coast. That's splitting up quite a bit, and then through the mountains, just widely scattered spotted areas of showers instead of any concentrated region of rain shower activity. What we'd like to see is a big blob of rain shower activity over the desert area of Texas, and for that to be moving northward. Well, our frontal systems are not in that direction. A weak front off to the northwest, and it looks as if that's going to be moving slowly south and eastward through this area over the next couple of days. This high pressure cell, the one sitting over the Great Lakes, is expected to just about remain there, and we have widely scattered showers, as you saw, through the west and also in the southeast. Temperatures today were a little bit on the cool side early this morning. We started out with a 37 at Redmond and Oregon, and the afternoon highs looked like this, with 70-degree readings off to the northwest, a couple of 60s even along the coast. In the middle regions, we had temperatures in the 80s and 90s. It did get up as high as 109 degrees in the desert southwest, so it was relatively warm there. Tomorrow, well, it looks like we'll have 100-degree readings in the southwest, but then warm air coming up from the south will be bringing more and more 90-degree weather. Our forecast for southwestern Kansas for tonight, we're going to be looking for clear skies, relatively mild temperatures. We'll be calling for low tonight with southeasterly winds of about 66. Then for tomorrow, mostly sunny and warm. Showers will be pretty much limited to the eastern portions of Colorado, a high of 94. For south central Kansas, clear skies and mild temperatures tonight, a low of 68. For tomorrow, sunny and warm again with a high of 94. The 5-day outlook, except on Thursday when we do have a chance of showers, temperatures mostly in the low to mid 90s with fair to partly cloudy skies just during the entire period. So, as you say, break out the sunblock.
Or break out the beer.
Not me.
Well, there's a new kind in town we're going to tell you about. The maker is Anheuser-Busch, and it is betting that it is the wave of the future. Wave or just Ripple, L.A. beer is making its debut in Kansas. Rick Price reports on a new concept in beer, light alcohol.
Nowadays, when it comes to alcohol, less may be more. It seems Americans worry about calories, their health, and the threat of a drunk driving conviction. And they're worried enough to change their habits. Enter L.A., Anheuser-Busch's new low-alcohol beer with half the intoxicant of 3.2. Just the ticket? Maybe. But people don't drink beer unless they like it. We took an informal poll this afternoon.
I think they hit it right on the head. Very good.
Well, it's about the same as a Bud Light. It is a little bit smoother and kind of has a good mellow taste to it. And I think it'd be a beer I would like to drink.
Good beer, but just as important, Anheuser-Busch feels there's a market for L.A. out there. As their advertising brochure says, it's reflective of today's lifestyle, and they're anxious to capitalize on that. Rick Price, Kake News.
Well, baseball is back, but funny thing, it looked like boxing. Mark Allen is here next with sports.
Take a sheet of Reynolds wrap, fold it in a Reynolds flap. First add meat, add your spice. Fold it once, fold it twice. Bake it now at 450. Not long, 15 minutes or so. Now take a peek, and you'll see just how good your meal can be. Because with a sheet of Reynolds wrap, a little thought, this Reynolds flap, you'll soon see what you can do. Chicken or fish and vegetables too. It seals in goodness, seals in flavor. So do yourself this little favor. Make cooking better in a snap with a sheet of Reynolds wrap.
There's a trail down there most folks use to get to know this mountain. I've gotten more out of going my own way. Lots of cereal seem to satisfy most folks, too. Grape nut cereal makes breakfast my way, and my way's all natural. No added sugar, nothing artificial. The natural sweetness of wheat and barley. Goodness in every crunch. See, there's no question Grape Nuts is right for you. Question is, are you right for Grape Nuts?
Since 1886, First Community Federal Savings and Loan has been helping build communities by providing long-term financing. Friendly offices in Winfield, Arkansas City, and Derby are now making loans for homes, cars, furniture, and almost any good reason. First Community Federal puts money to work for the benefit of the community. First Community Federal Savings and Loan in Winfield, Arkansas City, and Derby.
Come to the good taste of Chi-Chi's. Incredible. Come to the good times of Chi-Chi's. Incredible. Come to the fun and flavor of Mexico you like best.
Chi-Chi serves more good food, more good times to more good people.
Come to America's incredible Mexican restaurant.
Wish I'd gone there.
Chi-Chi's.
Baseball is taking on a whole new different look, and I'm not sure it's for the best.
No, it's not brand new. I mean, it's always been part of the game, but it is not, you know, a very pleasant sort of a thing when you start throwing at a guy's head. I mean,
And it's becoming more frequent, too, not, you know.
Well, we had, you know, if you were watching at 6, we ran a little piece of last night's or yesterday's Atlanta-San Diego game, which got totally out of hand. Last week, there were several fights in the Cubs-Mets series at Wrigley Field, you might remember. So, I don't know. It comes down to the umpires. They've got to take control of the game and just put a stop. You know, the first time it looks like things are going to get out of hand.
Jump in and put it
Exactly. But they did a better job of that tonight, I must say, and we'll let you judge for yourself. Now that the Olympic flame is out and the games of summer are history, the boys of summer move back onto center stage, and we go back to doing our late news at a decent hour, which is the best news of all around here. This may look, as I mentioned, like yesterday's Braves-Padres fiasco at first glance, but it is the Royals and Red Sox. Tonight up in Kansas City, that was Bud Black hitting Mike Easler on the forearm and Mike pointing the spot out. One thing led to another. Things started to getting physical here. There you see Royals catcher Don Slott kind of putting the bear hug on Easler, who was pretty hot for a while, but things kind of calmed down. Now in the fourth inning, leading off the bottom of the fourth, Darryl Motley jacks one. It got out of the park in a hurry out to left field. That made it a 3-1 Kansas City ball game. Frank White later added a 2-run triple. Check the final score as we hit the scoreboard. Royals a winner 6-1. Bud Black did get the victory despite that beanball. He pitched very well. Other scores, first place Minnesota wins again tonight 5-1. Cleveland a winner 6-5 in 11 innings. Mike Boddicker tossing a one-hitter tonight for the Orioles as they stop Toronto 2-1. And still playing ball at Comiskey, White Sox lead Texas 5-1 now in the ninth inning. On the National League side, if you take a good look at that guy down on the end of the Cincinnati bench in the bullpen, that is Ron Robinson of the Arrows, who was called up today. He wasted no time, as you can see, joining the Reds in St. Louis. He didn't play in the ball game, though, but Terry Pendleton certainly did for the Cardinals. There he dumps one out of the left field. Gary Reedus can't come up with it. Willie McGee scores in the play. Check the scoreboard. This final is just in. Cardinals a winner 5-3. Chicago and Houston still playing ball, tied 1-1 in the ninth inning at the Astrodome in out west New York, and the Dodgers are just getting underway. In the American Association, the Arrows have moved on to Denver, and they are off to a rocketing start. They lead the Bears 10-1 now in the fifth inning of play at Mile High Stadium. And with the Arrows on the road, the NBC tournament continues to be the story out at Lawrence Dumont, although tonight, the big story in tonight's feature game was Fairbanks, Alaska. As you may know, they are the number 3 seed in the tournament. They definitely showed why tonight. That was a solo homer for Tom Forrester of the Panthers. And as we go back on the scoreboard, they win it big over the Wichita Tigers. 10-2 was that final. Other NBC scores, Ventura knocked out Valdosta 10-5. Madison edged San Diego 1-0, and there's still plenty of baseball to go tonight as New Orleans and Winston-Salem are just getting underway. They are scoreless in the first inning of play. Well, I guess move over Michael Jackson, because what is being billed as a victory tour for the U.S. Olympic team got rolling today in Los Angeles with a presidential pat on the back. Still to come, a parade in Dallas and a New York ticker tape celebration.
The cheers from the Coliseum in Los Angeles followed the U.S. Olympic medal winners cross-country to Dulles International Airport outside Washington tonight, their first stop on a 4-city victory tour. As the athletes entered the terminal from the motor lounges that brought them from their 3 chartered planes, they went directly to their buses, except there were pauses for autographs and handshakes and a few brief interviews. The tour is being paid for by the Southland Corporation, 7-Eleven, one of the game's sponsors. Tomorrow, there'll be a parade to a ceremony on the steps of the Capitol, a testimonial luncheon, and then a flight to New York City for more of the same on Wednesday. The athletes will be at Disney World in Florida Thursday, and the celebration will wind up Friday and Saturday in Dallas. Dick Sanders, ABC News, Washington.
So I guess if you thought the Olympics were over, not quite.
They're still walking on clouds, right?
That's right, they sure
are. Okay, Murphy's Law. We know about that. Really didn't come from Murphy, though. Paul Harvey is next with more.
John Sinclair, young Olympic hopeful, dreaming of the gold, the 10,000-meter gold. Meanwhile, he trains and adds Z-Bec to his diet. Z-Bec with zinc, because as he sweats, he loses zinc, a mineral even more precious than gold for John's good health.
Z-Bec helps my diet replace my body's zinc and has vitamins that help convert food into energy.
May your dream come true. Go, John, go! Z-Bec, official sponsor of the 1984 U.S. Olympic team.
Look, Take a good look, it's a fresh new day at Wyatt's. Wyatt's. Take a good look, 'cause we're looking good. Look, everything we do, we're cooking fresh for you. Come on and look, take a good look. Take a good look at Wyatt's.
It's red hot. Your Chrysler Plymouth dealer's sizzling summer selling spree. Get hot year-end clearance deals on all 84s plus top trade-in dollars. Great selection, immediate delivery. Save on Plymouth Reliant, now clearance priced. Horizon, already a great buy, clearance priced. Sporty Plymouth Turismo, they're all clearance priced and backed by a 5-year, 50,000-mile protection plan. Cook up a sizzling deal now.
See your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
This is Ted Koppel. Coming up on Nightline, the U.S. Olympic triumph. Is the glory tarnished because the Soviet bloc didn't compete? We'll talk with reporters who covered the games for the Los Angeles Times and the New York Times, and with a Soviet journalist who covers the United States.
It's Kids In Free at Worlds of Fun in Kansas City. Find kids free coupons in your local paper or TV guide. One child free with each paid admission.
Break away.
The English vocabulary is peppered with many phrases of unknown origin, and tonight Paul Harvey explains what's behind one phrase that is a favorite of many a pessimist.
Today, the rest of the story. Murphy's Law states that something can go wrong at will. That idea did not originate with Murphy. It was authored by a 19th century philosopher, Arthur Schopenhauer. He was the crown prince of pessimism. He was so sure that if something could go wrong, it would, that he slept with a loaded pistol under his pillow. He took outrageous precautions against disease, was deeply suspicious of virtually everyone. Arthur Schopenhauer. Oh, I know. You know him as one of the great intellects of his day. But in most every other way, he was a total wreck. And then the competition was announced. The Royal Danish Academy of Sciences at Copenhagen was offering a prize for the best philosophical essay, and the prescribed topic was the origin of morality in human thought. Arthur labored tirelessly, dispatched his essay to Copenhagen, and was so sure that his work would take first prize that he enclosed a note asking to be notified quickly of his victory. He lost. When the shock wore off, he was angry, and when the anger wore off, he got depressed. The world, he was sure, was in a massive conspiracy against him. And thus did his pessimism persist until the 21st of September, 1860, when he died alone. And yet, as we review his life, we see that which might have proved a turning point, but which served only instead to reinforce his negative philosophy, the prestigious essay contest in which Arthur failed to receive first prize. Did I mention nobody else even entered? And still he lost? Now you know the rest of the story.
That's hard to take.
That's bad luck. I think Murphy did it.
Thanks for joining us. Nightline is next.